What's up, everybody? Andrew Mahone here with Tricky Jim at Full Grip Games. Today we're going to be checking out a brand new product just released by the Pokemon Company International. This is the Pokemon Trading Card Game Battle Academy. It is a complete how to play the Pokemon Trading Card Game box set. And I think this is just a brilliant idea. This box contains everything that you would need to learn how to play the Pokemon trading card game yourself, or is also a perfect box set for teaching somebody how to play the Pokemon trading card game. It's got some amazing artwork here on the front, and on the back it shows off what the box contains. It comes with 3 unique 60 card decks, so complete decks for teaching how to play the Pokemon trading card game. It's got how to play booklets, as well as damage counters, a coin, a GX marker, and 3 deck boxes, as well as a playmat. I think that this is an awesome product. It hopefully will be a valuable resource for players looking to get into the Pokemon trading card game for the first time, or just looking to teach others how to play the Pokemon trading card game. So let's go ahead and check out what this box set has to offer. And again, I think this artwork on the front is just absolutely incredible. Take a look at that without the glare. That is just phenomenal. Charizard and Pikachu doesn't get much more iconic than that. You see on the sides here, we've got the Raichu GX, Charizard GX, and Mewtwo GX shown off on the side. The play mat there, easy to learn, fun to play, and just some all-around great packaging. So definitely love that. As we open the box, let's see what is inside. First thing we're going to notice, we have a how to play. Wow, and I was not expecting this. The how to play playmat is actually built like a board game. So this is a solid board game style play area for teaching to play the Pokemon trading card game. And this is just amazing. I've never seen anything like this released by the Pokemon Company. So let's go ahead and check it out. We've got a bunch of different explanations here on the mat, the what you can do during your turn and all the different steps there. Explanations of the various play areas, such as the active spot, the bench, and the deck and the discard pile. Just really well made and easily folds up. So I think that this is just an amazing resource if you're looking to maybe run a Pokemon League, or you're looking to teach maybe kids how to play the game, or you're an adult looking to teach yourself how to play the game. This is an amazing resource. And the fact that this play area is made of some nice board game stock, right? It feels very familiar if you've ever played a board game before. The fact that it is sturdy and made from that same stock that board games are made out of makes it feel like it was built to last. It's not like those flimsy playmats that you might get with a starter deck or something like that. This thing rocks. So definitely big kudos to Pokemon. This is a pleasant surprise. When I saw that play area on the front of the box, I was not expecting it to be quite like that. So that is amazing. They definitely get big 2 thumbs up for that. Looks like we have a couple of deck guides as well for each of the decks that you might be piloting while learning to play. Each deck has its own guide. We've got the Charizard deck guide, the Mewtwo deck guide, and the Pikachu deck guide right over there, as well as our GX tokens and damage counters that you would need to mark the damage that your Pokemon take throughout the battle. We've got deck boxes as well, Pikachu deck, Mewtwo deck, and the Charizard deck, as well as a code to unlock all of this on the Pokemon Trading Card Game online, which, if you are lucky, you may be able to grab for those of you watching on YouTube. Good luck! We also have a gigantic coin. This coin is big. I don't know if you can tell the reference here, but this is a very large coin, which is epic. It's got a Charizard, a Pikachu, and a Mewtwo on it, so a nice little token there for collectors. I've never seen an official Pokemon coin that is quite as big as that. So the rest of the box is empty. That's it. Comes with some nice little a little tray there to keep your various decks in space, in their own space in the box. So let's take a look at each of the decks. First of all, we'll start with the Charizard deck. Comes with its own deck box, and of course Charizard GX. So with the Pokemon they've included, my hope would be that these Pokemon help teach the basics of how to play the Pokemon trading card game. And we see they've chosen GX Pokemon to include, not Pokemon V, not Pokemon V Max, and I think that that is a fine decision. It teaches some different mechanics of the Pokemon trading card game. First of all, Pokemon GX are worth multiple prizes. So I like that these beginner decks include Pokemon GX because Pokemon that are worth multiple prize cards are a integral part of the Pokemon trading card game experience at this point. Even though they're no longer printing Pokemon GX with the new Sword and Shield expansion, introducing players to the concept that some Pokemon are worth more prize cards than others, I think is a really important thing to note. So we've got the Charizard GX in here, as well as what appears to be some trainer cards. So I'll separate the trainers and the Pokemon, and we could just take a look at what kind of strategies we might be expecting to see out of these starter decks. And it looks like these decks are also numbered, so they come in order, which means that you're supposed to play these decks in order, which is really great for helping to teach how to play the Pokemon trading card game. And we've seen similar products to this in the Pokemon trading card game catalog before, with the symbol there in the corner and a number on it. So you see this is numbered 23. The Salazzle's number 23, and I suspect that if we take a look in the Charizard deck guide, they're going to tell you to, do not shuffle the deck. It's the first thing they say. Do not shuffle the deck, right? So keep it in order, and then you're going to kind of walk through step by step as they show you how to play that deck. So I think that this is really nice because if you're just learning how to play the game, then this is going to walk you through an example match here, start to finish, really just holding your hand as you complete the various steps of the game. And I think that that is a really intelligent design decision on behalf of the Pokemon Company. So I really like that there, and I think that that will be very helpful for teaching players how to play the game. For this video, though, I'm just looking to see, what is actually in these decks. So we're going to take the deck apart, and then later I do plan on making a how to play the Pokemon trading card game video, which I will be following the instructions in the deck, and then in the books, and showing off how to play the Pokemon trading card game. But for the purpose of this video, I'd like to just figure out what is in these boxes, and we're kind of just assessing the box's ability to teach the various facets of the Pokemon trading card game. So I like that we have a division of item cards, supporter cards, a healthy division of item cards and supporter cards in this particular deck. One thing that is missing is I don't see any stadium cards in this particular deck. And teaching about stadium cards is, I think, very important when you're learning how to play the Pokemon trading card game. So if there's no stadium in the deck, then that is something that will have to be explained at a later point. But we do have 4 Great Balls, 2 Potions, 2 Switch, and a Pokemon Catcher. I think Pokemon Catcher's inclusion is really nice because it is going to help us teach the fact that there is gusting in the Pokemon trading card game. Potion's very good. You can teach the concept of healing damage. Switch is good because you can retreat to switch your active Pokemon, but you can also play Switch. Great Ball helps with searching out various Pokemon. And then we've got some pretty basic supporters as well. A whole playset of How, which is just a simple draw 3 cards, I think is a very nice beginner supporter card, as well as 1 copy of Welder, and we have 3 copies of Cynthia, and 2 Bug Catchers. Draw two cards, flip a coin. If heads, draw 2 more cards. That's fun. And Pokemon Fan Club to help players set up their decks and grab basic Pokemon. As far as the Pokemon included in the deck, and we do have just a lot of fire energy, of course. As far as the Pokemon included, it looks like we've got Kangaskhan and the Charizard line. So let's show those off and see what Pokemon exist. Here's like a size comparison, so you can see that coin is just almost almost as wide as the Charizard GX. Got a couple of Kangaskhan's, which are really cool because they have 3 attacks, and that first attack is Fetch, just to help players kind of set up their board position and draw cards. We've also got Salazzle, and I think having evolution Pokemon in the starter decks is just really important because teaching players how to evolve Pokemon is just one of the best things you can do when teaching them how to play. So the fact that the biggest Pokemon in the deck, the Charizard GX, is a Pokemon that you're going to have to evolve twice to get into play. I think that that is a really strong decision, and not just handing out big powerful tag team Pokemon GX or something like that. I think that it's nice that we're teaching players to evolve to get their most powerful Pokemon into play. We've got a 4-3-2 Charizard line in the deck, and we've also got 3 Salandit as well as 3 Salazzle, 2 Kangaskhan, a Moltres, which is super neat because who doesn't love Moltres, and then a 2-2 Flareon line. So I have to say this definitely looks like a strong deck for teaching the basics of the Pokemon trading card game. We've got an ability present in the deck as well, but not too many abilities that a player might get overwhelmed with the various things that they might have to do during their turn. But one ability here on the Charizard, which just increases damage dealt to Pokemon GX and Pokemon EX. So I think that that is nice. Again, the one thing that I think would be missing out of this deck, just a stadium card. I think having a stadium card in this deck would be really strong so that players could learn about the effects of stadium cards. But that being said, that is a fine thing, I think, to omit. And certainly players can learn how to use stadiums at some point down the line. Now we're going to take a look at the Mewtwo deck. Let's see how the Mewtwo deck works. Now, Mewtwo is a basic Pokemon, so it's not going to go through the various stages of evolution like our Charizard GX had to, but Mewtwo and the Charizard, I think that these were really good decisions as far as Pokemon GX to include in these kits because they're very simple, right? Mewtwo GX just has 2 attacks. It's got 1 normal attack, which costs 3 energy, and a GX attack. And all of these GX Pokemon that were included in this How to Play kit are pretty much the same, right? They've all got just the 2 very basic attacks, 1 GX attack, 1 regular attack, and not too much else going on the card, which I think is nice for educational purposes. Now, with the Mewtwo GX being a basic Pokemon in this deck, my hope would be that there are plenty of other evolutions in this deck. It does look like we are going to get the Espeon line in here, which is cool. Pokemon fans love the evolutions. So seeing the Flareon there in the Charizard deck, it looks like we got Espeon in this deck, and then I would wager that, I think I've messed this up, yes I have, I would wager that Jolteon is waiting for us in the last starter deck there. And we'll have to see. I do love that Snorlax is included, Mew is included. I think that these are some strong I've done it again. These are some strong Pokemon to include in starter decks. Definitely recognizable characters is really good, especially when players are just getting introduced to the trading card game. Seeing characters that might be some of their favorites, I think, is very good for teaching how to play the game. And the trainer cards in this deck look almost identical to the trainer cards that were in our last deck, except our last deck had 1 copy of Welder. This deck looks like it has 4 copies of Cynthia instead, but everything else looks exactly the same. So I would think that the supporter count in this deck is the same one as the Charizard, except there's just 1 more Cynthia and there is no Welder, and there is still no Stadium card in that deck. As far as the Pokemon go, we have got the Espeon line, which I really like. The Snorlax is big, basic, recognizable Pokemon for sure. And Mew to go with our Mewtwo. Gotta love that And Mesprit, another legendary, very cool, attractive Pokemon. We've got what appears to be a thicker Espeon line in this deck. We got Cresselia. Wow, this has just got a lot of legendary Pokemon in it. 2 Cresselia, 2 Mew as well. A lot of really cool legendaries. Snorlax, who's not a legendary, but very iconic in its own right. And we have, 3 Toxapex and 4 Marini. So, very cool. Those are the Pokemon in the Mewtwo deck. Less evolving going on here, but there is more emphasis on basic Pokemon. No Stage 2 line. We just got a couple of Stage 1s and some big, beefy basics. I mean, the Snorlax has got 150 HP. No abilities present in this deck, but I think that this deck is very attractive because of the fact that it's got so many legendaries, probably a lot of recognizable Pokemon as well, which I think is really cool. Just taking a look around the deck, there's no status conditions, I don't believe, in this deck either, but Espeon's got a pretty cool pair of attacks here. Allure just draws 3 cards, and Energy Crush does more damage for the amount of energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. And I think that holding back on some parts of the Pokemon trading card game could actually be really valuable for just teaching players the basics of how to play. Like the fact that there's not many status conditions present in the starter decks. I think that's okay. Players will learn about status conditions as they get a little bit deeper into gameplay. No stadiums, I think, is also okay because you're going to hold a couple things back and just say, all right, as players advance in their learning, they'll pick up these, various odds and ends kind of as their journey to learn how to play goes on. So I'm okay with that decision to keep the decks just very simple so that players can learn how to play the game and the basics of how to do so. Now, Raichu GX, we had 1 Stage 2 Pokemon GX, we had 1 Basic GX, and Raichu GX is a Stage 1. So another evolved Pokemon GX, and of course, it is the famous Raichu, right? Evolved from Pikachu, one of the most iconic Pokemon ever is Raichu. So very cool. We've got Electabuzz and what appears to be a very familiar supporter and item line at this point. I would wager that this one is probably going to be the same. We've got Blitzel. I'm wondering if there's maybe Zebstrika. Tauros, another classic for sure. Electro Power, really cool card there. I actually was not expecting Electro Power, so that's interesting and is a little bit different from the other decks that we have seen. The Fire deck had a Welder. This Lightning deck has an Electro Power in it. We've got the Zebstrika there with the Raid Attack, which does more damage if it evolved this turn, so that's pretty neat as well. And look at me trying to talk and keep my piles correct. Yeah, having an amazing time doing that. Excellent. So just a quick glance at the items and supporters. It looks relatively the same. Chansey, you're not a trainer. Looks relatively the same. We've got Hows, we've got Cynthias, we've got Bug Catchers, but we do have 1 copy of Electro Power in the deck, which is neat and can help players learn about various damage buffing item cards. We've got the energy, of course, as well. And then let's take a look at our Pokemon line. We've got Pikachus and Raichus, I suspect. Yes, we've got an Alolan Raichu, so that's cool. We're learning about different forms of Pokemon there. A Raichu and 2 Alolan Raichu, and they all evolve from Pikachu. So it's 2 different Pokemon that evolve from the same Pokemon. I think that's pretty cool. Chansey, another super iconic Pokemon. Tauros, one of the original 150 Pokemon, and one of my personal favorites as well. Zebstrika, we've got 3 Blitzel in the deck, as well as 2 Zebstrika, it appears, maybe a third, nope. And we've got 3 Electabuzz and 2 Electivires. So the only deck out of the starter decks that has a Stage 2 evolved Pokemon in it would be the Charizard deck, but the rest of the decks all include evolved Pokemon, which I think is very good. And this deck here includes 3 different evolved Pokemon, which I think is awesome. And there are some various different, different attack effects that we see here. Tauros has got a Call for Family style attack, which gets other Pokemon into play. Various other Pokemon have drawbacks on their attacks, like Electivire has Giga Impact, it can't attack next turn after it uses the Giga Impact attack, and then Quick Attack does more damage if you flip a coin. So these are some things that are going to be very common throughout the Pokemon trading card game, and I think it's good to introduce players to. And that is it for the Battle Academy, the first ever, dedicated how to play the Pokemon trading card game product, I believe. Well, not the first ever, because there is this, yes, the original 2-player starter set, and boy, have we come a long way from the base set 2-player starter guide. Now we have an entire box set dedicated to teaching how to play the Pokemon trading card game, and I think that this is an awesome product for teaching new players how to play the game, and hopefully will be very valuable for those that are trying to teach themselves, or maybe trying to teach somebody else how to play Pokemon cards, because it is an incredible game, and I highly recommend getting into it. If you are watching this video and considering picking up the kit, I think it would be a great investment for teaching how to play the game. I think it's $20 MSRP, so I mean, you're getting 3 decks and all the supplies that you would need, as well as a really nice game board. And I cannot express enough, I mean, the game board that folds, I've never seen this from the Pokemon Company, and I think that it's really neat that they're they're kind of presenting the Pokemon trading card game as a tabletop game, not unlike a board game or anything else. And even though it is a collectible card game, it it definitely kind of falls in a similar category as those other tabletop board games, and has a ton of replay value. It's a lot of fun to play. Thank you all so much for watching the video. Make sure to like the video, sub to the channel, ring that bell, and of course check out FullGripGames.com for all your trading card game singles, as well as FullGripCodes.com for instant PTCGO code delivery. If you're watching this video and you're interested in checking out more Pokemon trading card game content, make sure to check out the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/TrickyJim. I stream live Pokemon trading card game content there every single weekday, twitch.tv/TrickyJim. Y'all take it easy and have a great day. Peace.